everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and Happy Sukkot. Now, why am I playing a folk rock song from the Byrds with a Shabbat song? Well, because this is not only Shabbat, this is also Sukkot. And it is traditional that we read from the book of Ecclesiastes during Sukkot. Now, Ecclesiastes, you know that song, the time to be born, a time to die, right? And it's got all that in that, and it sounds very pessimistic, right? So why do we do that? Why do we have that song Why do we have Ecclesiastes? Why do we read the book of Ecclesiastes during the Shabbat of Sukkot? First of all, this is a special Shabbat. This is the Shabbat of Sukkot. Sukkot starts Sunday evening, that's Erev Sukkot, and it goes for 8 days. In Israel, it goes for 7 days. So, Sukkot, you have the first day in Israel, the first 2 days, is like a major festival. It's like Passover. It's almost like Rosh Hashanah. And there's certain things that we do, certain things that we don't do. It's kind of like a half Sabbath. During the other days is what they call Hol HaMoed. It's the intermediary days, which literally means the seeds of the week. And it's the intermediary days. So there's some additional prayers, specifically Hallel. There's a half Hallel, which literally means praise, but it's a very specific section that is inserted between the Amidah and the Torah reading when there is a festival. And it's hymns of praise. It's hymns of praise for Hashem. And again, it's inserted in there because it is a special festival. It is a special holiday. Now, since Sukkot is 8 days, there is a Sabbath that is part of that particular holiday. And there is a Shabbat that intersects. Now, there are times when Shabbat occurs on the first day of Sukkot, and then you have 2 Sabbaths in Sukkot. But in this case, since Sukkot starts on a Monday, we only have 1, and there is a special Shabbat reading that we have during that Sukkot holiday. That reading is from Exodus, and it talks about, it is right after the Israelites built the golden calf. So Moses is up on Mount Sinai. He's up there for 40 days. He's communicating with Hashem. He's getting the 10 Commandments, and he's bringing the stone tablets down. And what greets him but a statue of a golden calf? And of course, he gets upset. He crashes it. He breaks it. He grinds it up. He makes the people drink water with the ground up golden dust from the calf. And Levites take their swords out, and they smote these people that dare to rebel. And Moses goes up a second time. So this is that time. He is now up on Mount Sinai for the second time, and he's going to get a second set of the 10 Commandments that is really going to be written by him. It's his stone tablets. Hashem's going to write it, but it's his stone tablets, so it's kind of degraded in a way. It's not as holy or as sanctified as the first because the people have sinned. So guess what? You blew your chance for the original from Hashem. Now you got to have a lesser 10 Commandments, if that makes any sense at all. But while Moshe Rabbeinu is up there, he's pleading the case of the Israelites. Hashem is basically like, look, I'm protecting these people. I'm giving them food. I'm taking care of them, giving them water. And how do they repay me? They repay me with this idolatry. And Moses says, well, show them mercy. And God says, well, I was going to accompany you on your travels, on your journey to the promised land, and now maybe I'll just send, maybe it won't be me, maybe I'll just send an angel. And Moses says, well, please stick to your word. You said it would be you that would accompany us, you yourself. Don't send a lesser being, one of the angels, to accompany us. Make it yourself, because it'd be better that way. So God says, okay. And then Moses says, well, by the way, how am I going to know you? And Hashem says, you will know me by my attributes. So we all know this is, we just came through our High Holy Days, which kind of ties into this particular Torah reading. And God discusses his 13 attributes. Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Rachum V'Chesed, L'Tzer Emet Be'emet, visiting the iniquities to the third generation, but remembering the good things for 1,000 generations. And this description of his attributes, Adonai, El Chanun V'Rachum, Chaim V'Chesed Rachum. I don't know it by heart, I'm sorry. But you get the idea. Now, this, by the way, is what we recite when we are taking out the Torah and it's not Shabbat. It's also what we say during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which is when we're asking God for mercy to inscribe us in the Book of Life, to be sealed, to inscribe and then seal us in the Book of Life. And by the way, we also recite this when we're doing any other fast during the rest of the year. So basically what we're doing is we're reminding Hashem, if you will, of his attributes, his 13 attributes, mercy and everything, and saying, please show us mercy. So Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, I'm going to pass by you, and I'm not going to show you my face. I'm going to cover your eyes so you can't see my face, but I will show you the back of my head. Now, obviously, Hashem is not a physical being, so there's no face, there's no back of the head, but there is the brilliance of the spirituality of who Hashem is. And it's a very, very intense feeling. Mankind, being mortal, cannot handle this. Right? So he's shielding Moshe Rabbeinu from the full effect of his spirituality, of who he is, but he's letting him see kind of a lesser, kind of the back of his head. So it's all very metaphorical. Okay, so where does the idea of Ecclesiastes, reading Ecclesiastes, fit in with all this? Well, the high holidays are still going on. And we've asked Hashem to not just inscribe us, but on Yom Kippur during the Eilah, the last part of the Yom Kippur service in the afternoon as we're preparing to break our fast, we're saying, please seal us in the Book of Life. Well, actually, that goes on to Simchat Torah. My son Moshe says basically that from what he's seen, it actually goes to the end of Tishrei. So Sukkot is on the 15th of Tishrei. Remember, Rosh Hashanah was the 1st of Tishrei, the beginning of our spiritual new year, when we changed the year. It's now 5779. Yom Kippur is 10 days later, during which we've had the 10 days of awe. 5 days later, Sunday evening in this year, we have, or the Erev Yom Rishon, the beginning of Yom Sheni. We have Sukkot, which is the 15th, and yes, we have the full moon, since these are based on lunar months. The full moon is the 15th. And then we have 8 days of Sukkot. The 8th day is the Shemini Atzeret. It's the 8th day of assembly. And then the rabbis have mandated a new holiday in there right after that in the diaspora. In Israel, it's the same day as Shemini Atzeret. It is Simchat Torah, when we finish reading the Torah and we roll the scrolls and we start reading Genesis. Now, during Simchat Torah, now I said last week that we are on the second to last portion. For all intents and purposes, however, this is actually, Ha'azinu, that song, is actually the last portion for Shabbat. The next portion, V'zot HaBracha, and these are the blessings, is actually read on the holiday of Simchat Torah, and we then re-roll the scrolls during the service, during Simchat Torah, and we start reading the first 2 chapters of Genesis to show that it is a continuous process, that the scroll really doesn't have a beginning and an end, but really is a continuous stream. So we are still asking Hashem for his mercy in sealing us in the Book of Life, and it's extended into these next, well, let's call it a week and a half, 8 days plus the day of Shemini Atzeret. For all intents and purposes, it's 9 days. So we still have an opportunity to do good and convince Hashem that we should be sealed in the Book of Life. So the whole idea of Ecclesiastes, all right, it's life is futile. We're born, we do these things in life only to end up in the ground again, and what do we all do it for? That's the whole futility. And it coincides with Sukkot, which is not just an acknowledgement of the wanderings of the Israelites as they set up these flimsy huts that we set up in honor of that, but it's also the end of the fall harvest. So it's kind of like, now what? What do we do now? And the answer to that really is that we still go on with our life. Think about this. Even though, all the things that we do between the cradle and the grave might be for naught, consider the fact that we're still influencing people. That what we do influences people around us. We're supposed to generation, live long and multiply. We're creating new generations. It's not for naught. That's the whole point. Yeah, there's a futility, and we talked about prosperity. You can take it with you, right? So why do it? Because we do things in life that's going to affect other people. And the point is that while the material things, you can't take it with you, you can still consider that you can still take the spiritual things, the way you influence people, the way you influence your environment, the way you create a synagogue, and the way you donate to the synagogue that's going to be there for the next generations, L'Dor Vador. That's what life's all about. So, hope you will have made it to our Erev Sukkot, Sunday evening. Hopefully you'll build a hut for yourself. Look at my website, www.modernrabbistephen.com, and you can see what we did, the way we did, built our little Sukkot, $35, go down to Home Depot. And we will see you Shabbat for a Sukkot Shabbat, and hopefully we'll see you for Simchat Torah, Shemini Atzeret. We'll do an afternoon, evening service. We'll do Yizkor for Shemini Atzeret. We'll carry around the Torah. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening.